Hey, thanks for joining us on today's live stream. Please consider this our gift to you, an exploration into the spiritual realm, the universal architecture of infinite possibilities. Here we teach, explore, experiment in order to share the secrets passed down from the masters.
All right. Well, this is your invitation to join us today and explore the wonders, benefits, and the mysteries of sleep and how it relates to your everyday experience of what you think is reality. Many people consider the art of slumber to be a critical component of your mental, emotional, physical, and your spiritual evolution. Are you ready to awaken your spirit and nourish your soul with the power of sleep? Are you tired of feeling tired? Do you struggle to fall asleep or stay awake or stay asleep? Right? Do you have difficulty dreaming or have reoccurring dreams that cause confusion or maybe they even scare you? Are you curious about the science behind sleep and dreams and how it affects your mental and physical health? If so, you make sure you block off this little window of time for our live stream. And for the next few sessions, for the next few live streams, we'll be covering these topics as well. All right. So we can dive into the fascinating world of sleep, dreams, and uncovering the secrets to getting the most out of your slumber. In this episode, we'll explore everything from the latest research on sleep science to ancient wisdom and practices. We may challenge some of your preconceived ideas and beliefs about sleep, and we may even reveal the truth about the impact of sleep chemicals and the circadian rhythms on your well-being. If you don't know what those are, we'll talk about them a little bit today. We'll also discuss how the things you do in your waking life can have immediate and even long-term effects on your sleeping life. We'll give you some direction on what your body needs to achieve optimal rest and recovery. And if you're looking for ways to improve your sleep, we'll share some cutting-edge technologies and techniques that can help you get the rest you need. So it's jam-packed today. If you're ready to awaken the art of slumber and unlock the full potential of your sleep, stay awake, tune in, and you are here at the right spot for today.
Oh, that's awesome, awesome, awesome. Can you tell we got a good night's sleep last night? Welcome, everyone, to Hacking the Infinity Matrix, episode 109, The Art of Slumber, and exploring the wonders, the benefits, and the mysteries of sleep. My name is Ross Arnson, and this is my partner, Gary Johnson, and we've got a super powerful live stream for you today. And we want to thank every single one of you for being here and joining us live, and those who are going to be catching up on the replay and on YouTube. So we appreciate you too. So, but before we jump into the many layers of this topic, I'm talking many, many, many layers. Let's begin with you telling us where you're tuning in from. All of you have to do is just tap that keyboard and screen and tell us in the comments where you're located. What city, what country are you in right now? So let's have a little fun. Also drop in comments on how many hours of sleep did you get last night? Do you feel you needed more? And what about your dreams? Do you remember as important for it, because that's important for your waking life? And we're covering everything in these next few episodes. So I know it's a lot to ask at this time of day, but it will set the tone for what we're going to teach and what you're going to get out of this training. So again, tell us where you're from, how many hours of sleep you got, and do you feel you needed more, and what, if anything, was important from the dreams that you had. And while you're all doing that, let me remind you that at the top of the comments, we pinned the link to get access to all the replays. They'll be in our private group, the Infinity Matrix. And so once you get there, you'll have 3 questions to answer in order for you to be approved and accepted into the group. You'll also get the opportunity to join our VIP program and get access to bonuses and exclusive content from time to time. All right, Gary, where is everybody from?
So, we've got some Cayman Island there. We've got, come on, everybody, where are you guys tuning in from? And like, did nobody get any sleep? Nobody's telling us. Cayman Islands, that's awesome. Welcome, Jerry. Hope you enjoyed the session today. But wake up multiple times throughout the night. Yeah, well, we can talk about some of that today, what creates that, because we do have different cycles that we go through. And sometimes you can pop out of one of those cycles, and that's not always good for your energy or your recuperation. So you guys keep telling us in the chat, even as you come on, where you're from and how many sleep you got, how much hours of sleep that you got, and do you feel that you needed more, right? Do you feel that you need more? And what about those dreams that you had? What about those dreams do you remember that are important for your waking life? Okay, just go ahead and tell us that in the comments as we continue. So let me just give you a peek at what you are in for as you stick around for this live stream. Okay, again, we're going to poke at and explore what your preconceived ideas, beliefs, and thoughts are around sleep. Okay, you also will help you to understand what the different stages of sleep are, and hopefully help you to be convinced that quality is way more important than, so quantity is way more important than quality is more important than quantity. Right? With some tips on what you can do to have more quality as early as tonight. We'll consider how your body's sleep chemicals actually make it all work for you, and then shed some light on things that can impact those chemicals and the sleep that you experience. There we go. So Jerry said, very little dream time. Don't feel refreshed. I usually recognize elements of stress factors in dreams. Yeah, okay, good. We got Prince George County in Maryland. I sleep for 7 hours. I dreamt, where'd I go? There we go. I dreamt, but I don't remember. Sometimes I dream the coming day. Oh, good for you. We've got South Wales in the house. Awesome.
There we go.
And then Louisa said, no sleep for the wicked. All right. Where did that ever come from? Yeah, absolutely 100% agree with you on that one. 3 to 4 hours of disjointed episodes at a time. Yeah, okay. And those things can have an impact on us, right? And maybe you guys are feeling some of that and you want some answers. Hopefully we'll get some answers for you today in why that happens, as well as what you can do about it so that you increase your sleep cycle and your sleep quality. All right. So considering the chemicals in the body and the sleep chemicals and what's going on with them, what kind of things influence those things, and and also checking in with you with, are you tuned into, or do you even know about your circadian rhythms? What are they, and why? What's the big deal about them when it comes to sleep, right? And is your body beating to the wrong drums? and that's maybe why you're having some of the problems with sleep. Okay. We'll also put our minds and bodies through, to understand that we put our minds and bodies through so much on a day-to-day basis without ever considering the impact that those things may have on the quality of sleep that's waiting for you at the end of the day. And to realize how that sleep can impact the following day. So there's a cycle that happens there. Okay. And then, do you ever do you know that there are a variety of techniques and methods that are available for you to start mastering the art of slumber? We're going to explore some of those for you to at least open your eyes to those possibilities. Okay. So like I said, we've got to jam-pack this puppy again with great stuff for you today. So stick around, get rid of your distractions, give us your full attention, because this live stream can literally change your life on so many levels.
It certainly can. And I'm going to open this episode by just being totally upfront with everyone. I am a sleep freak. Okay. It's always fascinating me because I want to know what's happening to my body and my mind when I sleep. And today we're going to share both of our experiences and research on the power of sleep and how it will enhance your life. So, what are your thoughts and ideas about sleep? Because it's different for everyone. Is it something that you think is important? Or were you told it was important? Or do you know it's important? So drop in the comments, either think, told, or know. One of the three. Okay? You think it's important, maybe not sure why. You were told it was important by someone, or you know that it's important because you felt it, experienced it, whatever the case may be. Drop it in the comments. Think, told, or no. And are you currently
mystery? This is part of the mystery of it, right? As you know, because people have these ideas, they've been taught or they've read somewhere, but they don't really understand the elements of it. So we want to kind of get a grip on where you guys are, get a temperature of the room, if you will.
Absolutely.
We've
While you're
got
giving us
Seattle,
that
Washington
what do we got?
says, and that's League of Extraordinary People. I like that. Haven't been sleeping well. Wake up at 12 to 1, 12 between 12 and 1 and I get 4 hours and then I'm up for the rest of the night. Thanks from Jamaica, West Indies. Ooh, Jamaica in the house. I slept well. My dream last night was clear. Good for you. Something was impactful, but as I opened my eyes, I couldn't remember. Well, we'll talk more about that in upcoming live streams about how you can improve that part of it. And also we go into quite a bit in our upcoming master lab, which is coming up in a few weeks. We'll talk to you guys a little bit more about that as well.
All right. So I've not seen anything tolds or no's. And while you're actually at it, are you currently experiencing sleep issues? Some of you already pointed those out. You want to share those with us because we can tell you whether we're going to be dropping answers to those today, maybe next week, the week after, because we've got a whole slew of episodes that are all designed about your sleep, your dreams, what you're going to do with them, how you can improve them. So here's the thing. We, the human species, are designed to sleep. You may or may not know that your body begins preparing you for sleep as soon as you wake up. That's how important sleep is to the existence of your body, your mind, and your spirit. It begins metabolic and chemical actions immediately upon waking to ensure that you're going to go back to sleep within the next 16, 20 hours. Yes, I did say that. I said 16 to 20 hours. And that's just a range because it's different for everyone. Only you know what you require. But do you really know? Because do you wake up tired and groggy after setting your alarm for a full 8 hours? Yes or no? Okay, because I'm going to give you the solution to that at the end of the live stream. So we want you to stick around. So as a matter of fact, sleep is a common behavior observed by most known species on the planet. There are some species that appear to require very little or no sleep. And really the only two examples that I have are the roundworm species and the bullfrog, which can go for several months without sleep compared to most humans who cannot go without sleep for approximately 10 to 11 days. And
but you can, but then you just end up in a psych ward.
Correct. So, but I do want to add that it's important to note that even a short period of sleep deprivation can have negative effects on your health and your cognitive function. And since we can't have a bullfrog to do a crossword puzzle to sleep with, when it's sleeping or no sleeping, we really don't know the effect it has on that type of a species. But we definitely know what it feels like for us individually. So in humans, going without sleep for this long can have severe consequences for both your physical and mental health, including hallucinations, cognitive impairment, mood changes, and even death in extreme cases. It also is important to note that the concept of sleep may differ between species. And what is considered sleep in one species may not be that in another. And even species that do not appear to exhibit sleep may have periods of rest or dormancy that serve similar functions as the sleep in other species. It's very important.
Yeah. So, and as the human species, we end up with preconceived ideas or messages about sleep, right? So, one of the most common preconceived messages is that's quite fairly common out there is the idea that every human needs to have 8 hours of sleep to function or to be optimal. But there's little mention or focus on the idea of quality over quantity. And I'll be emphasizing that quite a bit today, right? So imagine that your sleep is for example, I was League of Extraordinary People, right? So you got 4 hours of sleep. If you have the preconceived ideas that you need 8 hours, then and you're not tuned into what your body truly needs, then how do you know that 4 isn't all that you needed? Right? But if we're holding on to this idea, this concept that we're taught, then we're expecting that, and we're maybe overdoing or underdoing the sleep that we need. So imagine that your sleep is a piece of luxurious chocolate cake. Okay. And the quantity is how big the slice is. The quality is the richness of the ingredients and the texture of the cake. Just to kind of give you some visuals around that, so you understand it, right? Would you rather have a big slice of dry, bland cake, or a smaller slice of decadent, moist, and flavorful cake that leaves you feeling satisfied and energized? Which would you prefer? Right? And while it may be true that some people need 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night, we believe that there are variables that contribute to that concept, and all those variables can change what you actually need. Just because a research is done on a bunch of people, it doesn't mean the conclusions should be applied to everyone. Right? With the amount of things that are different from one human being to another, right? To think that because there's research done on this group of people, and to think that it's direct relationship to you is kind of crazy if you think about it. Right? Because unless you're in that study, the results may not apply to you. So you can use them as reference and guides, but not to use them as the law, as the be all end all, right? And it doesn't mean that those conclusions should be applied to everyone. That's what I want to emphasize. Your body might require more or less, depending on factors like age, activity level, overall health, history, your mental. There's so many things that can deter, and we're going to talk about a bunch of those things today to kind of bring them to light for you, right? So even if you're getting the recommended amount of sleep, it doesn't guarantee that you're getting high quality sleep. Okay. You ever had a night where you slept the full 8 to 10 hours, maybe even more, and still woke up sluggish and tired? Right? We've all had some of those experiences, right? It's because you got the hours, but not the quality. You got the big dry piece of cake, but not the moist quality taste and flavors that you needed. Okay? There are other times when you have significantly less hours, but you wake up refreshed, alert, and rested. That's because you had quality. Okay. In fact, there is research that suggests that some people can function very well with as little as 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Some even less, as long as the sleep they do that they do get is of high quality. So it's important to tune into what your body and mind need and find the right balance that works for you. Okay, we're not saying that one thing, we never say one thing fits for everybody. We'll give you different examples and different variations on the spectrum. You've got to find what works for you as a human being, as a spiritually evolving life force. Okay, there is a significant body of research that supports the idea that quality of sleep is essential for optimum physical and mental health. Studies have consistently shown that sleep is a critical variable. It's critical for various functions in your body, including your immune function, your cognitive process, and your emotional regulation. Because during sleep, our bodies go through a process of repair and rejuvenation. That's why we're designed to do that. We need to have that. Okay? This is the time when your body produces and releases growth hormones, which aid in tissue repair, cell regeneration, and even bone growth. Okay? Inadequate or poor quality sleep has been linked to weakened immune systems, making it harder for your body to fight off infections and illness. Right? Remember, it's quality that makes the difference there, not quantity. It didn't say poor quantity, right? It's poor quality of sleep that's linked to those things. Sleep also plays a critical role in maintaining your cardiovascular health. Several studies show that the poor sleep quality is associated with an increased risk of hypertension, heart attack, and stroke. The quality and quantity of sleep can affect various cardiovascular parameters, including blood pressure, heart rate, and inflammation markers. So there's a lot of evidence out there to tell us this stuff, right? But we're not necessarily taught it. You have to kind of search for it, or you have to be in the field or in the interest to kind of come across this stuff. We just kind of go through life thinking that, mom and dad said I got to go to bed this time, so that's the time I got to go to bed. And then you grow up and then you see other adults go to bed a certain time. You think that's what has to happen. And so you kind of fall into those routines, but you don't know the understanding of why those things and how those things impact you aren't really considered by most people. We're shedding light on that. We're opening your eyes to that today. Research has found that there's a strong association between poor sleep and the development of chronic diseases like diabetes and obesity. Lack of sleep can disrupt the body's ability to regulate glucose metabolism, leading to insulin resistance and increased risk of developing diabetes. Right? Even, again, poor quality of sleep can even lead to an imbalance in your hormones that regulate your appetite, leading to overweight and weight gain. So it impacts so many different things that we don't think about, right? We think we're if someone thinks they're overweight, they're like, I'm going to change the food. Well, maybe you need to focus on your sleep, right? Or they end up at the doctor and the doctor gives them the diagnosis of diabetes, and they, oh man, I got to look at the food there. Well, maybe you need to look at your sleep. We spend approximately a third of our lives in sleep. It's probably pretty important. I'm just saying.
He's
okay?
guessing. Don't. Okay.
Just off the cuff. Okay. Right? I mean, even your cognitive functions, like sleep is vital for your memory consolidation, learning, and attention. So during sleep, the brain processes and consolidates information that's learned during the day, making it easy to recall and retain for future use. But poor sleep quality has been linked to bad memory, impaired memory, decreased attention, right? And reduced cognitivity. So again, A kid goes to school, they've got attention deficit, and we're trying to drug them up, or well, give them more sleep, quality sleep. There may be simpler solutions out there, right? And so two other metaphors that can be used to illustrate the importance and quality of sleep are sleep is like a reset button for the body. Okay, sleep is like recharging the battery. So just as a reset button on any device helps to clear out any bugs and restore it to its optimal functioning, sleep also helps to reset and rejuvenate the body, leading to a better physical and mental health. Just like a battery needs to be fully charged to have optimal functionality, the body needs quality sleep to recharge and prepare for the day ahead. So imagine sleep as this sacred portal that connects your conscious and your unconscious minds in a place where your soul can truly rest and rejuvenate. And in this dream world, which we're going to talk about more in the next upcoming episodes, in this dream world, it's a magical realm that exists where communication between your innermost self and the universe is possible. It's where you can receive messages and insights from a higher power, and where your deepest fears and desires can be explored and even understood. And while science has shown that quality of sleep is critical for optimal physical and mental health, it's also a reflection of the spiritual connection between your conscious and unconscious minds. When we talk about conscious unconscious cohesion quite a bit in our live streams. Okay, your dreams can be seen as a common ground where your soul can express itself, allowing you to gain a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. So the internal matrix and the outside matrix. And you exist in that point right in the middle of it all. Okay? By prioritizing the quality of your sleep, you're opening up to the potential for your deeper spiritual connection with yourself and the universe. It's like hitting the reset button for your soul, allowing you to recharge and realign with your inner self. So the next time you crawl into bed, remember that you're entering into a sacred space where your soul can be nourished and your spirit can be reawakened. All right? So how can we improve the quality of your sleep? Well, the first step is and I talked about this sacred space, right? First step is to transform your bedroom into a sanctuary. Okay, and as a sacred ritual that honors the divine you. You deserve a space that nurtures your soul and allows you to connect with your deepest dreams and desires. So create an atmosphere of calmness and serenity by using soft colors, soothing colors, soft lighting as you enter into the bedroom, even comfortable fabrics, right? Essential oils are great to add in there, candles to purify the air and create a sense of tranquility. And if possible, consider incorporating elements like crystals, plants, some kind of a water fountain or water element, right? To promote positive energy flow. Play around with it. Play around with soft, gentle music that resonates with your soul, or listen to guided meditations to drift you off into sleep or restful sleep, guided meditations, visualization, hypnosis processes, all of which we promote and offer and share with you guys from time to time, as well as with our students, right? So develop your own wind down process that gradually leads you to a peaceful state of mind. Unwind with a warm bath or a shower as a ritual, right? Not just once in a while to treat yourself. It should be a ritual. right? Practice gentle stretching, or even enjoy a cup of herbal tea. There's so many different things we can do that just add it into what you're into your process. Journaling is also a great, it's an excellent way to release any lingering thoughts of the day and worries of the day. Just writing it down, getting it out on paper, allowing you to then get to a place where you can fully relax and let go. Okay? So remember, the way you prepare for sleep is just as important as the actual sleep itself. Okay? Treat your bedroom as a sanctuary and let it become a portal for your conscious and unconscious minds to merge and connect with your spiritual life force. Okay? Rest peacefully, knowing that you have created a sacred space to nourish your body, mind, and soul. And when you fall asleep, understand that you're going to go through different stages. We all do. Think of it like a train ride with different stations on the way to a town called Quality Sleeps. Okay? Check it. It's on the map somewhere. It's on the map. Okay? Quality Sleeps. All right? I'm not sure what state it's in, but it travels, this train travels through two states. One called non-REM, or we'll just call it non-REM, right? And the other called REM, R-E-M. Most people experience that it takes between 90 to 110 minutes to travel the whole train line. Okay, and they just keep cycling that process. But there are things that you can do to optimize the experience, right? So imagining your sleep as this train ride with your brain as the conductor, okay? As the train pulls out of the station, you begin your journey through the stages and the states of sleep. The first stop is the non-REM stage 1. Okay? It's the first station, and it's where you're drifting off to sleep. It's like the train is leaving the station and slowly chugging along the tracks. Okay? You're still aware of your surroundings, but you're starting to relax and drift off. The train should only stay in this station for a short time. When it lingers there, you'll experience difficulty even getting to sleep, much less getting all the way to the infamous Quality Sleeps city or town. Okay? And then the next stop, the next station is the NREM stage 2, right? So the non-REM stage 2, where you're now sound asleep. Your body temperature drops, your heart rate slows down, and your brain activity decreases. Okay? After this station, it's like the train starts to pick up speed and moving steadily along the tracks. You're not aware of your surroundings, and your body's preparing for deeper stages and states of sleep. This state usually lasts about 50% of the journey. Okay? When you arrive at the third station, the third non-REM station, it's where you're in deep sleep. And this is where your body does most of its healing and restoration. Your brain waves slow down, and they slow down even more, and your muscles relax completely. It's like the train has reached its final destination, but it's not quite at the end yet, right? So it stays in the station for a little while. But while it's at the station, other things have to happen. Though this station is essential for feeling rested and rejuvenated in the morning, okay, it usually lasts for about 20 to 25% of the journey until you end up in the state of REM. or rapid eye movement. Rapid eye movement is where your destination city and station are waiting to welcome you. That is quality sleeps, where rapid eye movement occurs. Your brain is super active and your dreams are most vivid. It's considered the station where you consolidate your memories. Remember, I talked about that? You consolidate your memories and you process your emotions. And each of these stations are essential for a good night's rest. Without them, you won't feel refreshed in the morning. If you skip a station, you won't feel refreshed in the morning. If you wake up at one of the stations where you shouldn't be waking up at, you won't feel good in the morning. Right? So make sure you give your brain the time it needs to travel through all the stations and states of sleep and visit quality sleeps as often as you can.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. You know, sleep is actually one of the keys to success. You can ask any of the top CEOs or the top athletes, what's the most important thing to you? And they're going to answer. They're going to say sleep. Okay, there's actually a video on YouTube. You can look it up. I'll try and find it and post it in the comments afterwards. There's a video of Jeff Bezos where he's talking about he monitors all of his executives' sleep schedules because he doesn't want them getting a poor night's sleep and then making an important decision the next day. Tom Brady is an absolute sleep fanatic. He read a report one time that researchers had, using some different types of imaging equipment, had seen when people are sleeping, sparks on the body. And so he asked him, what is that? He goes, well, we think it's energy that's kind of leaving the body. So he teamed up with Under Armour and they created a set of sleepwears that captures that energy. He said, I don't want energy leaving me while I'm sleeping. I want it. Because all of these little tiny things that the top CEOs do, the top athletes do, are why they're on top. So I assume that you've all heard of circadian rhythms and have a basic understanding of their function. Well, let's see. Well, actually, that was a little of a pun. Because the action of seeing is what activates the primary circadian rhythm function. Light regulation is important for several physiological processes in the body, including the regulation of your circadian rhythms and your sleep-wake cycles. The eyes play a critical role in this process by communicating information about the amount and type of light present in the current environment, and they communicate that to the brain. So to be clear, the eyes are actually an extension of the brain. They're actually the only part of the brain that resides outside of the skull. And it contains a specialized group of cells called photosensitive retinal ganglia. These cells are sensitive to light and play a critical role in regulating your circadian rhythms. These cells are located in the retina and they communicate directly with the brain through the optic nerve. And when they're exposed to certain light, they send certain signals to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a small region of the brain that acts as the body's critical biological clock. So why is this important to you? Okay, so let's talk about cavemen and cavewomen. And let's talk about how all of this evolved in the human species, actually in virtually every species, but we're going to talk about humans for now. So way back when, we slept in caves. These caves were very dark. And the only way that the cavemen knew to wake up was when light did eventually hit their eyes, even through the eyelids. Okay. However, in the morning, a different wavelength of light was captured by their eyes. It was relatively a blue type of wavelength. Okay. And that's a very short, fast wavelength and such. And so the eye would capture that wavelength and send the signal to the brain. And it said, it's time to wake up. And what the brain did is it would activate and start sending different neurochemicals into the body. Those chemicals basically woke it up. Okay, oh, great, it's time to get up. Okay, so, and then as the day progresses, those light waves change. Okay, and then what happens when right around 4 or 5 o'clock, the sun starts going down and those wavelengths change to an orange and maybe to a red. Well, that's a different wavelength. It's a different color. Our eyes capture that. And that tells the brain it's getting dark. It's time to start winding down. And as those lights continued to change and they became darker and darker and such, different chemicals were stopped producing while other chemicals started to produce, which prepared the body for sleep. That's the importance of light. It is so important when it comes to sleep. The suprachiasmatic nucleus uses all of this information to regulate and release of hormones such as your melatonin, which helps to promote sleep at night. It also helps to regulate other physiological processes that are important for your health and overall well-being, such as your metabolism, immune function, cognitive performance, like Gary said earlier. The importance of light regulation for circadian rhythms and sleep-wake cycles has become increasingly relevant in today's modern society. Why? Well, we have artificial light now, and we have electronic devices now, and all of these can disrupt these natural rhythms exponentially. Exposure to bright light at night, for example, can suppress the release of that melatonin and interfere with your sleep quality. On the other hand, exposure to bright light in the morning can help reset the body's biological clock and promote healthy sleep patterns. The brain's a simple mechanism and it can get confused very easily, especially when it comes to this realm. It's not designed for this. Circadian rhythms are important physiological processes that occur over a roughly 24-hour period and are regulated by your internal biological clocks. These rhythms are present in almost every living organism, obviously including humans, and to help synchronize the body's physiological and behavioral processes with the external environment. So the importance of circadian rhythms lies in their role in regulating a wide range of your body functions, including your sleep-wake cycles, of course, hormone secretion, metabolism, immune function, cognitive performance. And I can go on for hours on what happens in the brain when you sleep. When these rhythms are disrupted or out of sync, it can lead to a vast list of health problems, as Gary was saying: sleep disorders, mood disorders, metabolic disorders, and even cancer. And in addition, studies now have shown that shift workers who frequently work at night and sleep during the day are at risk of developing a huge range of health problems, including cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and certain types of cancer. And this is due to the disruption of their rhythms caused by irregular sleep. Because they didn't always work those shifts. Their rhythms were set when they were born and remained that way for a majority of their early life in most cases. But we're not designed for this. And not to mention recent research now linking it to Alzheimer's. Are you getting it now? We're not fooling around here. This is serious stuff. But here's the thing. It's not too late either. It takes one day to start changing your sleep habits and changing exponentially the quality of your sleep. Let me give you an example. So my wife was having some very, very big difficulties sleeping. This was a while back. And she goes, I would go to sleep and then I would wake up and I would be up for a couple of hours. And she goes, and then I would go back to sleep. And I'm like, well, okay. So I have a specific stack of nutrients that I developed for her that helps her sleep. And so I'm looking at that and I'm adjusting that, and nothing was working. And I'm just like, I don't understand this. So I'm looking and finally said, okay, so we're going to document exactly how you're sleeping. What are you doing before you go to sleep, which is following all the proper methods. What time you're going to sleep, et cetera, et cetera. And so we just documented that for a while. And then I was trying this, I'm trying this. It could be hormones, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. So finally, I tried everything and I'm just like, there's just something weird here. This is bizarre. So then I started thinking about time. And so my wife used to travel a lot to Europe. And so what I did is I created a chart of her current sleep habits, and then I overlaid a world map on top of that, the time zones of a world map. And I'm like, well, I'll be damned. Your body is stuck in France time zone. I said, you are waking up in the middle of the night when you were waking up in France. Now, it wasn't completely in that zone, but when it came to her sleep rhythms, it was. So she would fall asleep because of how the body prepares for sleep. But then it would just, her metabolics would just kick in and all of a sudden start waking up. Okay. It was very, very odd. So what we did is I put her in our guest room, blacked out all the windows, took out anything that had light in it, and then we started documenting things again. I said, continue doing what you're doing, but now we're changing things a little bit, and let's see that. And then what we did is just incrementally, I said, now I want you to turn the light off. She used our incandescent light, which is what ideal if you're going to read before bed. I said, turn off the light 10 minutes earlier. And then we'll chart that in 10 minutes earlier. We'll chart that in 10 minutes. It took 30 days to reset her circadian rhythms. Now, I'm using this as an example because her body got stuck in something that, again, it's not designed to do. It's not designed in 12 hours to go from one time zone to another time zone. Now, if she were to naturally walk or row from that time frame, swim, yeah. So that would have been different because then the body would slowly have adjusted itself. Mm-hmm. And this is a very, very common problem with a lot of people who do a lot of traveling. And sometimes it can just be from one side of the country to the other 3 times.
Sure, they call it jet lag, right?
Yeah, basically, yes. And so that's where the overall circadian rhythms are they're essential for maintaining optimal health and your well-being. And the disruptions in these rhythms can have serious consequences. So what we want you to understand is to understand the importance of the circadian rhythms and taking steps to promote your healthy sleep and lifestyle habits. And individuals can help you as individuals, you can help maintain your natural biological rhythms and improve your overall health and your overall well-being. It is that important.
Yeah. Yeah, and the reality is that it's either because we don't consider the impact or we are willing to put up with some sacrifices. Throughout the day, we do so many things that affect our bodies and minds, which ultimately can influence the quality of our sleeps that we don't, again, we either don't know it or don't understand it, we don't consider the impact, or we're willing to put up with the sacrifice, right? Think of your body, think of your body as a garden that needs to be tended to daily. Okay, what you do during the day can either nourish or deplete the soil of the garden. So therefore, the foods you eat, the thoughts you think, the emotions you feel, even the locations that you move to or you travel to, the activities you engage in can all affect your quality of sleep. So if you're not getting the quality that you want, you got to do something like Ross did and do some investigation, do some testing out, checking and tracking, and invest that time and energy in yourself and your sleep understanding, in the art of slumber. Okay. For example, slugging back too much coffee, alcohol, or even sugary foods can, and some of you already experience and know this, it can disrupt your body's natural rhythms and make it harder to fall asleep. And just as damaging is engaging in stressful activities, getting caught up in the world of chaotic news. One of the worst things you can do is watch news before bed and then watch it again when you wake up.
Well, we recommend you don't watch news at all. But yes.
Yeah, true. But that's one of the most toxic things you can do, because it's all surrounded around stress and negativity, anxiety, and chaos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, or even constantly checking your phone and whether it's, did someone respond? Did they give me that like? Did I get that thumbs up? Did they share? Did they comment? Those kinds of things, not to mention the blue light, which Ross was talking about, not to mention those variables, the emotional and psychological components of that also has an impact. Okay. And can leave your mind feeling overstimulated or restless. The good thing is, as Ross mentioned, is that there are many things you can do to nourish your garden. It's never too late. There's lots of things you can do to nourish your garden and promote high quality sleep. So think of it like planting seeds of intention throughout the day, so that by the time it's bedtime, your garden is ready for the best sleep possible. And so some simple ways to nourish your garden, they include doing things like gentle exercises that you enjoy, whether it's yoga or stretching, I talked about earlier. Just simple things that kind of move the circulation through your body. Anything that's blocked, it allows that flow to happen. Practice mindfulness and meditation, hypnosis and guided visualization. Practice those things. Okay. Again, we talk about and teach those things in our live streams and in our trainings. We're giving you lots of tools for those. Eating whole foods and natural foods is also good, because again, the body will require less energy and effort to process that and can be focused on sleep instead of digestion. And then set boundaries around technology use, right? Spending time in nature is replenishing and allows that body to start to connect with those natural rhythms again. So by incorporating these types of practices into your daily routine, you're going to be helping to create a conducive environment for quality sleep to take root and flourish in the garden. Remember, every day is an opportunity to nourish your garden and to cultivate the best possible environment for a restful night's sleep. And who knows, you may just wake up feeling refreshed and ready to take on the world like a blooming flower. Yeah, imagine that. And the other thing to consider is that our bodies contain, as Rach has talked about, these chemicals, right? Chemicals that are specifically geared towards helping us sleep and then move towards that quality sleep's destination that I talked about earlier. right? So to get technical for a minute here, and again, Ross talked a little bit about it as well, but there are several chemicals in our body that help to regulate our sleep-wake cycles. The primary sleep chemical, as mentioned, is melatonin, right? Which is produced by the pineal gland in the brain in response to the darkness that Ross talked about, right? Melatonin helps us feel sleepy and signals our body that it's time to sleep. Other sleep chemicals include adenosine, which builds up in our bodies throughout the day and helps us to feel more tired and as the day progresses, right? So it's almost there to intentionally slow you down, right? And then serotonin, which helps to regulate our mood and has a role in that sleep-wake cycle as well, right? There are several factors that can impact these sleep chemicals, including, as Ross mentioned, exposure to light, more stress than is normal, right? Certain medications, okay? And, we talked about the blue light from electronic devices. That can suppress the production of that melatonin. That's why it's important not to have that too early or too close to your bedtime. It makes it harder for you to fall asleep. Okay. And stress interferes with the production of the sleep chemicals, particularly cortisol, which is the stress hormone that can interfere with the production of melatonin. So see how they all kind of work, right? But again, if you think that, I just got to get to bed earlier. Well, no, maybe there's other things you got to consider, right? And adding these elements into it so you can have these variables that you can kind of test and play like Ross did. It's going to give you more power in your ability to master the art of slumber. Okay, medications, caffeine, some antidepressants, all can impact the production of sleep chemicals and make it harder to fall asleep and to stay asleep. All right, so imagine your body as a house. Okay, and the sleep chemicals are the lights that turn on and off to signal when it's time to sleep or to wake up. Melatonin is like the main light switch that turns off when it's time to sleep and then turns on when it's time to wake up. The adenosine is like a little switch that slowly builds up throughout the day until it's time to turn off the lights and go to bed.
It's a dimmer switch.
Yeah, it's like a dimmer switch, exactly, right? And serotonin is like the mood light that helps to regulate our feelings and keeps us on a healthy sleep schedule. Okay, so some of you have kind of been transported back to the 70s and stuff, but right? So these things can mess with our the things that we talked about earlier can mess with the light switches, right? Like bright lights or stress. Imagine if someone came into your house and turned on all the lights in the middle of the night. You wouldn't be able to sleep. Right? What happens? That happens when we're exposed to too much light, especially that blue light from phones and computers and electronics and things like that. Okay, so just like a loud noise or stressful situation can keep you up at night, stress can interfere with the production of those sleep chemicals we talked about. It makes it harder to fall asleep. And even certain medications can mess with our those sleep chemicals, the light switch, the sleep chemical light switches, like caffeine, right? Which can keep us wired and awake, or some antidepressants which can impact the production of that serotonin. Right, so it's important to be mindful of what we expose ourselves throughout the day to, right, all the way through the day and into the evening. Be aware, be mindful of what you're exposing yourself to. Take care of yourself. Others won't. Take care of yourself and understand how it impacts or can impact your sleep. By being aware of these things that can interfere with the sleep chemicals, again, you can become this detective to master the art of slumber. right? You can take the steps to create the sleep-friendly environment that supports the body's natural sleep-wake cycles.
That's right. Great. So we are running a little bit longer than usual, but it's worth it because now I'm going to go over some different techniques and technologies that can be used to help improve the quality of your sleep. And so the first one is going to be your sleep hygiene practices. Now, here I'm referring to the habits and routines that promote healthy sleep. Okay, the first one is establishing a regular sleep schedule. So that means you should go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, including weekends, including your day off, including vacation time, every time, every day, every night, every morning, you go to bed and wake up at the same time. The average person gets a small cortisol spike between 11 p.m. and 12. That's why when you get, and that's average, but that's why when you get to a certain point at night, all of a sudden you wake up. Okay, you need to make a note of that because for you, it might be 10 o'clock. And that cortisol spike is designed to wake you up. It's like, oh, apparently you want to stay up longer, so I'm going to give you a little bit more energy. And it's just a little spit of cortisol, but all of a sudden now you're awake and such. And then you have to wait for that to burn through your system, and then the sleep chemicals can take over. But now you have messed up your circadian rhythms. Okay? That's the second win that you feel. So you want to create a sleep conducive environment. And Gary went over some of these, and I'm gonna repeat them. You want to make your bedroom as dark as possible. As dark as possible. Blackout curtains, whatever, if that's needed, are a great thing. You want your bedroom to be as quiet as possible. And if it's not, and if you're in the city and there's lots of noise and such, get earplugs, get something, and bring down that sound. It's difficult to completely eliminate noise, but generally if you bring it down by 5 to 10 decibels, that can make a big difference for you. And I have tested out all different kinds of earplugs. And if you want to know the kind that I use, just drop me a message and I'll send you a link for it. So you want to have your bedroom as close to 65 degrees or lower as possible. The lower, the better. Your body needs to cool down when you're sleeping. That is imperative. You ever wake up with your feet sticking outside the covers? That already says that you're sleeping too hot. What the brain will do, because it wants to be cool without waking you up, because it does not want to wake you up, it'll send your feet out. If you can cool your feet off, your core temperature will follow, and it doesn't need to go any further. If that doesn't work, it just turns off the sleep chemicals. I need you to wake up. And you wake up, you think the heat woke you up, but it wasn't. It was your brain that woke you up. And so you get up, you open a window, turn a fan, whatever. As soon as the body or the brain senses that coolness that you adjusted, it goes, oh, that's what I was looking for. Turn sleep back on. And then you go back to sleep. But you've now decreased the quality of your sleep for that night. So just start from the very beginning, getting it as cool as you possibly can. With that in mind, you want to use your bedding. You want your bedding to be as natural fibers as you possibly can, whether it be your sheets, your blankets, comforters, all that kind of stuff. You want to be as natural fibers as you can. That's going to allow more breathability and such, again, for keeping you cool. All right. Next thing. This is the one that nobody's going to like, but I'm going to tell you anyhow. No phones in the bedroom. No cell phones, no ring phones, nothing in the bedroom. Okay? No TV in the bedroom. No laptops, no tablets in the bedroom. Your mind must understand that your bedroom is only for two things: sleep and that's it. That's all your bedroom is designed for. Otherwise, if you do it for other things, a lot of people like to work in bed and such. If that's the case, the brain cannot prepare itself. It just simply can't. It goes, I don't know what you're going to do in here. But when you restrict your bedroom to just sleeping, as soon as you walk in the bedroom door, your body will just simply start going, okay, it's time to start sleeping. The light is right, the time is right, my adenosine is pretty high. Okay, I'm getting a clue that I think it's time to go to sleep. Oh, now we walk into the bedroom. Yes, it's time to go to sleep. And it will just start ramping down. There are no exceptions to this rule. It's so important. As Gary said, avoid stimulants like caffeine, nicotine, alcohol within hours of bedtime. Hours. That glass of
So
wine.
move your nightcap to an afternoon or evening cap.
Exactly. So I was just about to say that glass of wine, the little bourbon, whatever the case may be, has to be hours. They do not help you sleep. I'm sorry to tell you that. You might think they do, but that's you convincing yourself. That's you justifying. They do not help you sleep. You want to review any and all medications, allergy meds that will disrupt your sleep. Read the labels. Okay, again, I had someone who was having problems with sleeping, and I couldn't figure it out. And then I said, tell me what you're taking, and we try work. And then in a conversation, well, I take my allergy medication every night. And I'm like, all this time, you've never said you took allergy medication. It took me 2 minutes to look up that allergy medication. And the first thing it said is, may cause sleep disruption. Took that out of the nighttime, gone. All the problems went away. There are so many things that we just automatically do or automatically assume that are really messing up your sleep. And then again, as Gary said, engage in relaxation techniques like meditation or deep breathing. And I've got a couple other things too. So here's 5 things, a few things that you can do. So you can use sleep control techniques, especially if you have insomnia. This is the I can't turn off my brain moments. Okay. And we kind of recommend the Silva method is one of the best. It aims to reach and sustain a state of mental functioning called alpha state, where brainwave frequency is between 7 and 14 hertz. And daydreaming and the transition to sleeping are the alpha states range, and then moving into your theta and your delta waves as well. There's also cognitive behavior therapy, which is another focuses on changing your negative thought patterns and behaviors, but not watching the news will probably take care of that for you. But these all contribute to your sleep problems. Okay, it can help you identify and address factors that are interfering with your sleep and develop new habits and coping strategies to improve sleep quality. Light therapy, my favorite, this is what I use with my wife as well. Light therapy it's unbelievable. Now, what did I say earlier? What do these do? All these are doing are reading light waves, okay? It involves exposure to bright, preferably outside is the best, artificial light in the morning, and then red or orange light in the evening to help regulate the body's natural sleep cycle. Okay, this is a no-brainer if you travel a lot. And as Gary said earlier, if you're going from time zone to time zone, this is the absolute easiest, fastest, and best way to reset your circadian rhythms. It works like a charm. Remember the cave. This can be particularly helpful for anybody who has difficult falling asleep or waking up at the times that they want. All right, then there's white noise machines. I used to use white noise, and then I found that they were too noisy. So
There's also brown. There's also there's different color noises. So brown
white
noise
noise,
also
noise, brown noise. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have these, and they produce a constant soothing sound that can help mask other noises, and they can promote relaxation. Some people use fans. Some people use recordings of rainfall. Some people use Gary's hypnosis recordings. All of these can be particularly useful for individuals who are sensitive to noise or live in a noisy environment. All right. Then you have your wearable sleep trackers. Now we're getting into my realm. Okay. Now I'm going to stress one word in this: wearable. Okay. These can help monitor sleep patterns and provide some feedback on sleep quality, including the duration and quality of different sleep stages. But if it's not touching your body, it's not effectively monitoring all the needed metrics. And if these don't help you, they don't help you sleep. They simply help you identify the patterns and the factors that may be affecting your sleep. Okay, now, mind you, as I said, I'm a sleep freak. I used to sleep with the electrodes on my head. Okay, that's called sleep monitoring. And such, so where I was reading the brain waves and such. And with
Can anyone say nerd?
Well, yeah, I guess. Anyhow, so by doing that, okay, yes, I am a nerd. By doing that, I actually developed for myself and my wife and some friends a stack of nutrients that I take before I go to sleep. Now, those nutrients, with adjusting the dosage of it, I can stay in a light sleep. I can go into a nice rhythm sleep, or I can go into a really, really deep sleep. Okay, these are just nutrients. Okay, but you have to. It takes a while. You got to be kind of a nerd, but it's fun. Okay, and then we have light and sound technologies that can be effective in training your brain to relax and get your natural sleep pattern and become awakened and rested. And with a sharper focus, you're more focused and you're fully restored. I mean, it's just amazing stuff. It really is. And then here's one of Gary's and my favorite. You can consciously program your brain. On average, you sleep 5 cycles per night. The length of each of these cycles varies from person to person. Gary mentioned earlier, it can be anywhere from 70 minutes to 110 minutes and such, on average 90. Okay. But again, that's only average. And that's where you come in. Your subconscious, you can tell your subconscious how many sleep cycles you want to sleep, and it will do the rest. Then you can tell it how you want to feel when you wake up. For example, we worked really, really hard last night. We were up pretty late. I just told my body, okay, I said, I just want to sleep 2 cycles, but I want to wake up refreshed and energized. Boom, I woke up 2 cycles. That's how it can work. It does work very, very well. If any of you have used any of these, please share it in the comments. Let us know how they have worked for you, or some things that you may have experienced that didn't work so well. That's really important. All of these ideas are just that. They're ideas or suggestions. So we don't want to throw a bunch of things at you. So if one of these resonates with you, you can IM Gary or myself, and we'll point you in the right direction for some products that you can look at. So earlier I said, do you wake up tired or groggy after setting your alarm for a full 8 hours? And so here's the answer. If you're waking up, you're setting your alarm, and I'm making the assumption that you're using the alarm clock, and you set your alarm for 8 hours, stop. Set your alarm for 7.5 hours. That's it. Why? Because we sleep on an average of 5 cycles a night, 4 to 5 cycles a night. And each of those cycles on average is 90 minutes long. If you set your alarm for 8 hours, you are waking up or being woken up in the middle of a sleep cycle. So
the wrong station.
Exactly. Think about what Gary said earlier. Now your body is full of sleep chemicals. Now, when you set it for 7.5 hours, you're at the very end of a sleep cycle. So the sleep chemicals in your body are at their lowest. Because after that 7.5 hours, the body's going to start ramping you up for the next cycle. So try this. You will or should feel a definitive difference. If you're still feeling kind of groggy, then pull it back to 7 hours and 20 minutes. So you need to find the length of your cycles. That's the most important part. But I'm telling you, once you start to figure out and really tune in to how your body is working and how it is sleeping, life changes, man. I'm telling you, the grass is greener and the sky is bluer. It's amazing. So here's the last thing I want to say. There's a lot of junk out there about sleep. Yes, TikTokers, I'm talking to you, okay? And this episode is just setting up your sleep foundation so you are becoming rested and being prepared for the next step, dreaming. So as always, we appreciate your attendance and once again invite you to join us on the Infinity Matrix private group. The link is in the comments, and be sure to answer all of the entry questions. And this live stream has been brought to you by us. And it'll be posted on our channel, where you can also find all of our free trainings at Infinity Matrix on the YT channel. And that link is also going to be in the comments. Thank you very much. Gary,
so that's our stream for today. Yeah, it's our stream for today, everybody. Hopefully you'll implement what you learn and learn from what you implement, right? So that you can master the art of slumber. And we hope that you are looking forward to the quality sleeps that are in your future. Till next time, we'll be well, everyone. We'll see you next Thursday when our topic will continue along the lines of sleep, dreams, and reality. And the title is Dreamland Diaries, Understanding the Unconscious Artistry and Power of Your Dreams. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone, for sticking around. And if you want the replay, jump into the group and make sure you join that group and you can catch the replays there. All right.
Hey, tell you what, come back to this tomorrow and let us know how your sleep was. Come right back here.
Yeah, absolutely. Drop in the comments. Definitely.
Drop in the comments how you slept. If you used,
tell us what you implemented. Tell us what you implemented and how it impacted your sleep, what happened with your sleep experience, and as you kind of figure that out and tweak that for yourself.
And understand as well as nothing, most of everything we said, it doesn't cost you a dime. So if you want to get some of the technology and all that kind of stuff, yeah, then there's going to be some. But most of this is just you and how badly you want to start sleeping good. That's it. Thanks, everyone.
Right. Hey, well,
bye-bye.
Talk to you.
So we truly hope you enjoyed this latest live stream. Each week, we bring you the best in cutting-edge techniques and processes to help you better yourself and create the reality you desire. In order to stay notified for more live streams like this, as well as any upcoming interviews, master labs, or time clips, be sure to click the like button and ring that bell. As a matter of fact, you might be ready to step things up for yourself. You see, everything and everyone you've been exposed to in our live streams all have one thing in common. They've harnessed their own potential, claimed their badass self, raised their game, and leveled up. Whether it be in business, personal, romantic, for whatever dimension of life you choose, there's always a next level. So we encourage you to rekindle your passion, your purpose, and spirit, and step it up, and register for our next free 5-day badass challenge. The link is below, and we are excited to see you take a leap into a new reality that only you can imagine.